problem is hey, all right, we're here live Q&A with Marshall, Alan and Marshall. I can't even talk today. So anyway, we're here. It's Friday. We've had a great week. We had a little issue with the thing not launching on LinkedIn. So with that was what was going on there. And so anyway, thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you guys. How we doing, Alan? What's going on with you?
Wow, it's been a busy week. It's been a busy month since the Atlantic City show. I was out of town. I was in West Virginia with a dealer, and man, what a forgotten state. I was just telling Marshall, we were talking, it's gorgeous there. It's not as populated. It's probably the least populated state on this side of the Mississippi, but man, with some great people, friendly, a lot of stuff going on down there. Sporting teams are back up. People are busy. So It was a great, it was a good trip. Looking forward to go back down. There's some big shops down there too.
Yeah,
right. So
I've never been to West Virginia. I've been to East Virginia.
I've been to East, yes. But it was incredible. So yeah, really glad I went down there.
Right. Well, it's good. Hey, so anyway, if you guys are watching, thanks for tuning in. We'd love to hear from you. Please drop a note in our comments about where you're watching from or whatever. And don't forget that this is a question and answer show. So we really need your questions. Of course, we have some topics that we're going to kind of plow through today, but we really want to make sure that we're giving you the help that you need. That's what you pay us for.
Yep.
and would love to help out. Also, if somebody has a question or whatever, feel free to comment on what you're doing, and maybe you can help them too. So, don't forget to share that you're watching. We kind of help that's a good thing for us when people share that they're watching. So
absolutely
love it. We love it. So anyway, we'll see who's watching right now. So Ray's here. Good seeing you, Ray. Peter is watching. Hey, good morning from Kennesaw, Georgia. What you doing down in the Peach State there, Peter?
Down there at why do I have a feeling you might be at Aviant?
Oh, maybe.
Which is in Kennesaw.
Yeah, Richard is watching. Good seeing you, Richard.
Richard, I had lunch yesterday with yours and I's good friend, Josiah Blackmore. He was down in Flint, and met him, and his two kids were with him on there. So we were talking about you. So yeah.
Scott's here. Hey, Scott. Happy Friday, guys. Alan had a huge booth at the ASI in Orlando yesterday. So,
no, I did not.
Well, I don't know. Maybe he did. I don't know. But maybe I don't know. What does that mean, Scott? Please clarify.
Yeah.
Ray says he lived in East Virginia, SGIA, and traveled to West Virginia with Marcy to work with the print program at West Virginia University. Gorgeous state. Great.
Incredible state. Yeah.
And Charles is here. Hello from New Mexico. Good seeing you.
How you doing, Charles? Yeah. So, it was a good trip, man. Some great printers. The dealer I was with, we hit everybody. There's one, went to a place in Gilbert, West Virginia, and literally I'm like going, am I into a deliverance thing? It was so far out, and all of a sudden there's
you got a pretty mouth.
Exactly. But man, all of a sudden this little town opens up, and I guess it's trail riding
right.
Capital over there, and for side by sides and stuff. And man, it was great. We're talking to the guy. He has does textile, does signs. I'm there, while I'm talking to him, I'm there with the Swiffer duster, going across Coroplast, handed to him, and he's printing us yard signs with for some of us will remember, with a Philbar flatbed press. And
wow.
Yeah. But it was a good time.
That's great. So Scott says he thought he saw a GSG booth in the middle. Right?
There is a GSG booth. They're down there. It's not ASI, it's ISA. So
that's the sign thing.
Yeah. So they were probably heavily in sign, but
that's Orlando. right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
He was there specifically to look at some equipment.
Yep. Cool deal.
All right, awesome. Let's do this. Let's run the commercial, and then we'll be right back with our topics.
Sounds good.
All right, here we go.
Over the last 70 years, GSG has seen many changes in the apparel decorating industry. But one thing that hasn't changed is our dedication to helping our customers discover what's next. As we continue to lead the industry, GSG is here to support your business with industry experts. The latest innovative products, training services, and by delivering the perfect order.
All right. Hey, cool. Scott says he was equipment. He got his letters backwards, and then Richard helped him out with ISA.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. Well, cool. So you ready for our first topic today?
Sure thing.
Do you remember what it was?
Yeah. How are you measuring?
You didn't even look. I saw you look at the ceiling just so you wouldn't look down. Right?
Actually, it's right there. I have it on. I always have it written down. I have to look always. And I didn't put it totally. I just put measuring.
Yeah. What are you measuring? Right. This is the bottom of Richard Greaves' emails.
Yep. Exactly.
Why is that, do you think? It's because it's important.
It's important. You know what? On my side, here's what I tell people. When they're measuring and using tools, it has no opinions.
That's right.
So, you know what? When people ask me about stencils and, you know, I think you're underexposed. Richard could say, I think you're overexposed. Marshall could say you're coding wrong. This emulsion companies do that. Well, you know what? Tools exposure calculator tells you right there. No opinion. Yeah. Thickness gauge tells you no opinion.
And so here's the question for you, Alan. Mm-hmm. And I'm very interested in your answer.
I'm sure.
Why do you feel people in this industry don't measure?
Well, we are live, so I can't really say a whole lot. For fear that I've turned into the grumpy old man shaking his fist at the lawn, which I've turned into more and more. Because unfortunately, we have in the textile industry I can get by just enough.
Just good enough is
just good enough. It's so much there. You know, where I was just talking with our new sales assistant. You know, we were talking about, you know, we have a new product for squeegee and flood bar washers in the textile industry. And so Rick Christian and I were talking with our new sales associates going, look, if you get a call from somebody that's in a graphic or medical device or industrial printing, the quality of squeegees goes up infinitely 1,000 more times.
Right.
So when you have a company like that, where measuring is there, where your actual durometer shore is so important. 75 is not 70, and it means something on ink deposit. You know, your stencil thickness is imperative in those markets. And I just don't think we have done from back in the day a good enough here in the textile industry, which we focus on a lot, where we have put, you know what, we haven't created the pain and showed this is your pain point.
Yeah.
They're not feeling the pain in the wallet of how that is affecting them.
So
and their efficiency.
You could argue, I could argue, right?
Yep.
Everything in your business needs a number.
100%.
right? So this is not, what are you measuring? And it doesn't have to be about production. It
Yeah.
can be about how many times your art department has to make a change.
Yeah.
It could be your profit. It could be how many times a day does Nancy in production, go to the bathroom, right? Because she's not doing her job, right? If
Yep.
she goes to the bathroom 20 times a day, don't you think that's going to impact her job, right? What's going on with that, right? And so if you start thinking about just what are you measuring, right? When we measure the things that are correct, right? We want to make sure they stay that way. If we measure things that aren't really working well, this is our opportunity to improve them. But, if we can put a number on something about what should happen, and then we can decide, are we getting that or are we not getting that? And then that can help you make a better business decision about that improvement.
Right.
Typically, a lot of times when I talk to folks, right, they're not measuring I was talking with somebody the other day about their KPIs and they don't do it and a thing. And I'm like, okay, well, here's the thing. It's like, you don't have to measure everything. I want you to start measuring what you consider to be important.
Yep.
Okay. So let's say you could, a paralysis by analysis, right? We've heard of that, right? But what is the most important thing? What are your problems? What is the slowest part of your process? What's the thing that you have the most pain with? Are you at least measuring those things so you could work to fix it, right?
Right.
And measuring could be how long something takes. It could be how many do you get. It could be any number of things, right?
Yeah.
It's up to you to determine, hey, that's great, or hey, that's not good enough, right? And then the hard part comes in. How do we fix it? How do we improve it?
Right.
How do we keep it going? How do we not break the streak?
I feel, Marshall, too, measuring is almost like, the first time someone has to do a personal budget, and there are so many people that don't. But, we think of personal budgets as very constricting on what I can't buy, what I can't do, where they're not. It's extremely freeing if done right, because it shows you where your money's going. And I think when we measure, we have not, people think, well, if I measure, I'm really just pigeonholing where I'm just moving so fast now. And it's really not. I almost want to, how can I say this? I feel like that, again, we've done a disservice in a lot of ways. And I don't know how you learned, Marshall, from, I'm measuring, starting.
I learned by circumstances punching me in the face.
Yeah, exactly. And that's probably it. There is not that hard thud of learning anymore. And coming from the supplier side, the distributor side, I did not know screen printing when I started. If anybody thinks that I did and that I came up through this, no, I knew nothing. Richard Greaves can attest to that. He met me then and I knew minimal. But you know what? I worked for a company that insisted we had to learn. I had to go. You're a Newman dealer. You are going to stretch. We called it Newman School for 3 days in Philadelphia, learning everything there is about Newman roller frames and tension and how it affects. We had to go get trained at Autotype on emulsions and Ulano on emulsions from Neil Bolding and Al Petsy. I got trained on.
Those guys don't know anything.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Serves me well still.
Yeah.
When diffusion transfer film for cameras round, I had to go to National Graphics in St. Louis for training. I had to go to Sinclair and Valentine Graphic and UV Ink School on there. And it was important. As a supplier, we had to know. And then we still had the phone numbers for the Dave Dennings, the Richard Greaves, the Joe Clarks, who was at Wilflex at times. We had to have those. And I see in our industry, the textile industry, and I hate it because, if I can employ, just beg the Mark Granberries, the people that own these distributorships, get back to that.
Yeah.
One of my distributors hired their first salesman, and he asked me, he goes, how can I help him succeed? He is a Kiwo dealer. He is an Easy Way dealer. I will work with him. He's a Rutland dealer. He said he needs to call Max Price now from Rutland. He needs to call John LaVos from International Coatings now. You need to send him down to Kiwo Yolano and make him spend time with Dave Dennings and learn everything he can. He may not use it all, but he will learn. And now I've just turned into the old man shaking his fist of people get off my lawn. But
right. So
I am not, and that's the thing. I'm not a smart guy. I did not grow up in this industry. Was not in a shop where I got punched in the face and had to learn, but I was sent to learn.
Yeah, good.
Continued on.
We got some great comments here. So Dan Campbell's here. Hey, Dan. Ray says, my whole world is measuring tools.
100%. Yeah. And where he's at, and we were just talking, when you're in the graphic market, the electronics market, the what we call the industrial printing side, measuring is everything. You don't measure and your colors are off. Your thicknesses are too much. Your circuits don't connect, and you have failure.
Consumables are crazy expensive, right? So
the what?
They're crazy expensive, right? So if you're not measuring,
100%, yeah,
right, you're going to go broke, right? So, yeah. All right. So Richard says, my third diagnostic question is usually, how are you measuring? Because Absolutely. I know you aren't measuring. That's great.
Absolutely.
Ray says, several reasons: laziness, or I've never needed to, and I have been doing this for 700 years, or too cheap to buy a tool that actually works. So don't trust the hired help with expensive tools. There are others. Yes.
Yep.
I used to be an angry young man. Now I'm a grumpy old man.
I was an angry young man. We always said that I was the young angry Ellen, and now I feel like I am.
Yeah.
It's just irritating me. These youngsters, they're not doing what it's like. Come on, people.
I've been happy my whole life.
But you know what?
Experience.
I loved going to those schools. Yeah. I learned so much. And I wish, this is where I'm now in my career, where I can pick up the phone and I'm friends with a Richard Greaves, and I can call Dave Dennings, and I can do that because I wish Joe Clark was still around to talk to him. And, those were the people, the training and stuff. So,
right.
The people that are watching this, man, you have numbers and names of people. Do it.
Yeah, right.
Learn.
Brian says they don't measure because they don't realize how much better it can be than we've always done it, and it takes time to feel, which takes time to feel slows down production. Well, actually, if you're measuring, you can do it better, and actually your throughput's higher because you're doing it correctly. And we're going to actually talk about something here in a minute.
Everybody complains about pricing of inks, of emulsions, and stuff like that. Well, really? You want to take 15% off get a better 15% yield on your inks right now? Are you measuring your tension?
Yeah.
Plain and simple. Just like that. You need to increase your production in your squeegee and flood bar speed. What is your tension? How are your squeegees?
Why are you printing in revolver mode, you goof?
Oh, exactly. You twit. Yeah, absolutely. Did I just say that on there? I'm so sorry.
Right.
But it is maddening, people, when I go into shops and I have to bite my tongue off and I don't have time for stupidity. I can't hit them in the forehead with a tack hammer. Right. I just leave them a bag of hammers. When you have time, do it yourself.
Ray says people do not understand durometer. 5 durometer is considered an order of magnitude change.
Yep.
Dan says they go with what they can see rather than measure to be exact. It looks thicker. It looks brighter. It looks right or close enough.
Because they're Jedi Masters and they're using the Force.
Yeah. The root cause is Nancy has a urinary tract infection. Get her a bucket.
Yeah.
Hey, Kisa says, hello, guys. Hey,
Hey, Kisa.
I just got off the phone with her.
And you know what? I'm measuring. I get hit with it too. So right now we have a new CRM system. You know, the key thing for us is not about product. When I'm talking to a thing, you know what the one number we have for reclaim? I don't care how many presses you have. How many screens a day are you reclaiming?
Yeah.
How many are, and we are having to track that and do that to help us be there. So it is on me too. We are forever learning and measuring and with KPIs, and it's different. So I don't want to think that I'm here just yelling at everybody else. It's
right.
Yeah.
Looking for bottlenecks, the goal, looking for waste, 2 Second Lean.
Yep.
Great. This show sponsored by 2 Second Lean.
Yeah. Richard is sponsored by 2 Second Lean.
The other problem I have as I run into, this is mainly for EOM and RZ gauges, that those need high accuracy. The gauges are out of reach cost-wise.
They are, especially in our Z meter.
Joe's here. Howdy, fellas.
Hey, Joe.
Joe. Preach it, Alan. And Richard says, the Academy Chairman Dennings. Yes.
Yes, David Dennings, Esquire.
Yes. So what are you measuring? Okay. And then here, maybe another way of putting this is, what do you not have to measure?
Well, and I think I was going to say what Ray is talking about, EOM, that measures thickness of your stencil. RZ measures the smoothness of it. And, you know, there are times, is it as critical in textile? No. But it is critical, especially if you're going to do critical work. And, you know, what are the, you know, would I rather him have an RZ or an EOM meter? I'd rather him have an EOM. Would I rather him have an EOM thickness gauge or be measuring their exposure with a 21 step? Yeah. A donut probe, you know. Yeah.
Well, and we're talking production, but you know, some things that we can also measure is how many sales calls do we make a day? How many customer contacts do we make a day?
How many touches do you have a day on a client?
How many quotes are we doing a day?
Yep.
How many quotes are turning into orders?
Yep.
You know, what is our sales closure rate?
Yep.
What is our net gross profit? What is our net profit? What
is your attrition rate?
What is your attrition rate? How many customers, how many orders did we have last year at the same time of this year? Are we doing more, right?
100%.
Has our profit gone up? Like we could be talking about this frankly for a month and there's a lot of things to measure, right?
Yeah.
And what I would argue is, you know, the things that are going to move the needle for you most, if you can only measure a handful of things, these are the things that we should be really looking at.
Yep.
And I know there are people right now who are so insanely busy, it's not even funny. And there's other people who are so scrambling for work, it's not even funny.
Yeah.
And so one of the things if you're on the scrambling for work thing, I would argue, you know, we need. You see this all the time on Facebook. It's like I'm, you know, I have no work. Why is everybody busy? It's like, have you really done the things that you need to in order to succeed? Are you out there hunting for clients? Are you doing things? Are you getting in front of people? What are you doing, right? And then if you're extremely busy, the other end of the stick is, are you busy being profitable, right?
Yep.
So the work that you're saying yes to, are you making money on it, or are you just spinning your wheels, right? So we could be printing for anything, for anybody. What are you saying yes to?
I stopped by a shop last week, close to where I live. I don't see him a lot, but you know, I was there, so I stopped in. And she was telling me that, and she had a new girl there working in front doing sales and stuff, said she has been amazing. She goes, I've always sold promo. I just haven't sold it well.
Yeah.
She said, my profitability and the money we're making just because she is upselling it is unreal.
Yeah.
When she's found out, she goes, and now we've learned that I don't have to go through someone else. She goes, I'm getting the stuff direct, you know, out of China. She goes, not a good word, but yeah.
You know, it's just big numbers here, right? Yep. Easy math. You're $1 million shop making 10% net profit. You made $100,000, right? you're a $500,000 revenue shop. You're making 40% profit, right? You're a $200,000 profit, right? Yep. You're half the sales with twice the profit.
Yep, absolutely.
So this is why we need to be measuring these things. Who are you going after as clients? What deals are you closing? What is the big domino that's going to make the biggest difference in your company?
And
if we're not measuring and looking at this stuff, we could be wasting a lot of time on trying to serve the wrong customers. That's why this is important.
100%. And Marshall, that is one of my biggest failures always. And that's something just these last couple of months I've started doing more going, I want to help everybody. I can't help everybody. I have to focus on what moves the needle for my company and for my dealers and stuff. And so I am going back and we're looking at these numbers going, what is the hit list? Where do I need to be focusing my time for the maximum effort?
Well, also, let's think about this, right? We don't have time. Everybody, right?
Yep.
We don't have time to do everything, right? We want to have the best result for the least amount of effort.
Yep.
Okay. And so what are we investing our time into? What are we investing our effort into? And I think a lot of times people want to sell to everybody. They want to make everybody happy, right? And one of the best things that I did 2 years ago was take my phone number off my webpage. Why is that, Alan?
Well, because all your calls, you have a way to get there, but everything's scheduled, because if not, you spend all day answering the phone.
What happened was I was spending a lot of time talking with people who had problems that would not buy from me.
Yep.
They would never be my customer. They just wanted the answer, and they would pretend that they were interested in coaching, but they really just wanted the answer. And so what really happened was, once I took my phone number off and I made a process to have a little questions that you got to answer, then you can book your call. Instantly, what happened is I got a lot of my time back, and the people who go through that process want to be coached and are willing to give the answers. And what happens is that really freed up a lot of my time, but it also made the time that I'm spending people more productive for me from a revenue standpoint, which makes me a better company, right? So who are you spending your time with, I think, really matters.
I went through, after this trip, I was with one of our dealers in West Virginia, and we called on a lot of companies. I've went through them, and I pulled 2 out that are major that I need to personally keep in touch and follow up with, working with this dealer on. The other ones he can handle. I'm there for support and stuff, but this is where, okay, these are the major ones that I have to focus on. So while I'm the angry old man shaking my fist, it needs to be shaking at me too.
Well, time for self-reflection.
100%.
I don't do everything right, I love time management, and I do, but I procrastinate on a bunch of stuff, right? I just like to, especially my writing. If the muse isn't there, sometimes I won't do it today. I'll do it tomorrow, whatever. Because I know myself, right? And anyway, so let's get to some comments. Richard, Instant RZ, direct film.
100%. Capillary film has Instant RZ. It's Mike.
Peter says, how about why are you measuring and what are you doing with the data that you're developing? Yes.
Absolutely.
I love that. Dan says, the biggest tool in my arsenal for learning and teaching others at the shop was the tool of using our sources. The seasoned experts at this very thing are already at your fingertips. Our suppliers that we're buying from, free and correct education. However, I'll tell you that not all suppliers will handle this, right?
And
so it's really good that you've got people that you can count on. Not everybody has that, Dan, because they're buying from the wrong folks. So just want to throw that out there.
And then my thing is, what happens to the suppliers when the Marshall Atkinsons, the Alan Howe, the Richard Greaves, and not that we're the end all be all, but these people, Dan, you were trained the same way, and we're gone. What happens now? Then it becomes a keyboard commodity, and it becomes ugly.
Right. Eric says, hey, Eric, Even education goals can be measured. Time spent working on improvement and innovation. After, of course, you have measured everything you need to keep the job flow positive and the needles jumping. Yeah,
Absolutely.
another great thing to measure is how many failures have you had this year?
Yeah.
And failures, I mean, by doing things that you didn't know how to do that you tried.
Yep.
Right? That I'm out there trying to do stuff. There's a guy, what's his name? Jesse Itzler, right? One of the things that he talks about a lot is having one big, huge landmark thing that you do a year, right? You quit smoking, you start working out, you go to Iceland, you whatever, right? You write a book, you create a podcast, you do some big thing a year. And so I think a lot of people go through a year without doing some major thing, right? Like this show, for example, right? Nobody asked us to do the show. We just invented it, right?
Yep.
We're not asking for permission. I've invented a lot of things over the years, Shirt Lab, my newsletter, just different things, right? I didn't ask for permission. We just did it anyway, right? So I think that's really good, right? And of course, if you don't take these risks, then you don't get that reward, right? But you gotta just go, right? So, all right. Dan says, Marshall, that works well, which is why I don't ask you all the tons of questions I have on the phone at 2 a.m.
Well, that's
because you call me anytime you want at 2 a.m. By the way, my phone doesn't ring after 6:30. Just
I would say 2 a.m. your time, Dan, is okay because that's 11 o'clock at night for Marshall. So go ahead, call him.
I'm asleep in front of the TV usually at that.
Yeah.
Not 100% on 110, 156 mesh, for example. Cap film under 0.02 will have a poor RZ. It sinks into the valleys. Be careful. Buy a gauge anyway.
It does, and this is where it comes down to where, and I never want to be good enough, but if you're using a 110 and a 156 on there and cap film on a 110, then the RZ is not going to matter as much because of the detail and textile. Guaranteed, they're probably not using 110 as much, Ray, as they do, in the electronics industry for you. But you are 100% right. That mesh doesn't always sit on top. It does sink in. So it's a great point.
And Dave's here. Hey, Dave.
Hey, David. I will call you back as soon as I'm done with the show. Mr. Eggers called me just as we were getting on there, and I said, I'm getting ready to go on. He goes, I keep forgetting. He's an hour behind, so he has grace. So, and actually, it was his sales guy I was working with. They had a great trip.
So the prep for our measuring question is for this one, which is outcomes. This is all about what do you want? And I think in this industry, I really feel a lot of people don't focus on where they want to go, what they want to do. What is the outcome you want?
Yeah.
What should we be thinking about, for the end of this month or the end of this quarter or the end of this year?
Yep.
What is the outcome that we want? And this could be about tangible things. This could be goal setting. This could be about the type of company we want to be, the culture we're trying to build, the things that we want to learn, whatever. Right? It could be really anything, right?
Yep.
We don't spend enough time thinking about what we want, right? And why, I don't know why that is, right? And so I kind of want to talk about that a little bit. What do you think, Alan?
I think exactly. So why am I changing things? Why am with our new CRM? Why change the focus? Well, I want a better outcome. I want a different outcome. If I want a different and a better outcome, and I do things the same way, I'm not going to get it. Things have got to change.
Yeah.
So
all I've printed my whole life is flat color with a 110, and I want to be, look at that simulated process mastery over there. I want to learn that.
You know what? How can I get it where it's softer? Well, don't use 110 mesh. It would be the first thing. Everybody go, well, use discharge, use that. No, change your mesh count. To me, discharge is overused. Water base is the Band-Aid for a thing of learn to print. You know, you can get plastisol almost baby soft with
You
technique and heartbeat.
You just got to know what you're doing.
Exactly. But if you try to print it the same way with the 110, you're going to get the bulletproof football jersey number. And if you're doing football jerseys, that's perfect. Fine. Do it. But yeah.
Yeah. So got some good
If you
comments.
want a different outcome, you got to do things different.
The real point is trust nothing, measure it.
100%.
And then Richard's got a great quote. 110, the Model T of mesh.
I almost said it, Richard, but yeah, man, the great Jeff Proctor, what he always said, the 110 mesh, the Model T of screen printing. Classic.
You can have anything you want as long as it's black. Right?
Exactly.
Any color you want as long
as long as it's black. Yep. On a white shirt.
Right. So I think right now we're in a interesting time in the industry. We have a lot of new people coming in. You know, both you and I go to trade shows, and I think you can talk to people. A lot of people haven't been they've been in the industry, let's just say, for under 3 years.
Right.
I'd say 40% of people you see at the trade show, they're under 3 years in business.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're thinking about the outcome, because that's the point they are in their journey. They're just getting going, and they don't know enough yet to think about this stuff.
Right.
Would you agree with that?
Yes. But I also think that what they know are half truths and stuff that they've learned on the internet going,
because they're still trusting Facebook.
Yeah, I can cure my shirts in the oven. Maybe. Do you want to? Why would you do that?
Yeah.
Well, I'm just real small and starting off. No, you're not starting off. You're trying to set your house on fire.
Does anybody have plans for a press I can build with 2x4s?
Yeah, exactly. I just think as long as there's information out there like that, it's going to be a struggle. And then you go to a show going, well, these are professional people. You're not wanting to make a profit. If you're not wanting to make a profit and you're just doing it as a hobby, that's one thing. Mm-hmm. Cook it in your oven. Don't invite me over for dinner. But yeah, I think we're always going to fight that, because the rudimentary way of screen printing, you can very inexpensive. Now you can, with hinge clamps and a block of wood and stuff and a screen, you can print some incredible signs in flat stock. It does not take a lot to get into it, but you still have to do it right. And that's where, our buddy Andy McDougall comes in from doing there. And it's all about artwork and what you do and how you print. None of it's real expensive.
It's not.
But the question is what outcome are you looking to have?
Right. Yeah. So the outcome, I think, is really important, because if we spend our time, and here's the problem, it's thinking.
Yep.
We'll spend time thinking, but thinking about what we want, then we can discover how to get there. Right.
Yeah.
And I think this is where knowing people, talking with suppliers, going to trade shows, taking classes, really, joining stuff like Shirt Lab, right? You're going to find better answers, because you're surrounded with people who've already traveled down the road that you're fixing to walk down.
Yep.
And I think that's something that's really lost in this industry. There needs to be more of a direction. Here's your compass. Here's a map for you. These are the things that you should start looking at. This is something that I've been talking with frankly, all the trade shows about, and can't really get any traction on it. I don't know why, but but I just think that there needs to be more information. There needs to, the information's out there, but nobody's really looking. And I think there needs to be more emphasis on, these are the basics. This is what you need to know, right?
Right.
Why do we continually get people who are confused about pricing posting on Facebook all the time?
Unreal.
Right? It's not like that information isn't out there.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, and it's there. It's like, what would you charge to print this many on
Yeah,
this?
yeah. I got this shirt, this many. Where you at, people? It's like,
Yeah.
what are you asking?
Yeah. If you don't know where you're at and how to do pricing, yeah, it's a problem.
Right.
It is frustrating. You know, and even like Marshall, I know the conversations you've had with the trade show people, and I don't know if you know this, Marshall, but one of the trade shows we were just at, they have now increased their pricing for next year, another $10 per square foot. So get ready for the ROI from manufacturers to go down even more, and us think about how big do we ever want to do.
Yeah, right. Well, the cost of poker has been going up everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So, you know.
But when the buy-in of the ante is even more and the return is less, then you got to go, is it worth playing the game?
Yeah. So Ray says, however, I have no issues with 110. As you noted, learn to print. However, you can print plastisol baby soft and thin on a 110, just not at 20 newtons.
Right.
What do you mean you can't trust Facebook? Abraham Lincoln said it was okay.
He did.
Hey, Hurley's here. Hey, gentlemen.
Chris, how you doing?
The people of the internet bashing Michelle Kaza, it's not Michael, it's Michelle, who have printed for 6 days makes Sailor Brian jump out of my skin. I hate the internet some days. I totally agree with that. It's like, because here's the thing is, Facebook and the internet equalizes everybody in the same playing field, I think.
Right.
When people don't know who people are, because they just don't know. It's no fault of their own. They haven't, you know, because that guy, you know, not everybody knows who he is, right? But they just don't take that time to find out, right? And
I will sum it up on who he is. And, you know, there are people that know him better than me. Richard, you know him there. Probably the best printer ever, screen printer ever, to be in this industry, in the face of the earth.
And he wants to share his information or whatever, but you get people challenging what he's sharing because it doesn't match what's in their head.
Yeah.
And because what he shares sometimes is, you know, we're working on kindergarten math and he's sharing like advanced kind of crazy calculus about this stuff. And it's so far beyond their ability to think that it's like, it's great. Like, you know, there he was, you know, why are you using your second stroke? That's what he's been
exactly
for the last month, right? And so it's very interesting, right? So, but thanks for bringing it up, Brian.
Yeah, and Brian, I love that Brian knows who he is, and for people to know, he's a French. Started off serigrapher, but man, did an incredible textile printer. One of the honors of me was to have met him many times face to face, where he actually knows me. And Richard Greaves will attest, when I'm talking to Richard on the phone in my car, I have a headset on, I'm talking, and all of a sudden I start hyperventilating because Michelle Kaza has emailed me directly. And Richard is so great. He goes, pull the car over, pull the car. The Vatican is summoning you. It was unreal. Yeah.
That's great. So anyway, so with outcomes are, you know, what do you want, right? And so our next topic is have something to do with that, right? Efficiency versus effectiveness, right? And sometimes I've been talking about this with some of my coaching clients lately, so I thought it'd be good to bring this up, right? So efficiency, right? What is that, right? Efficiency is, let's just say, is doing things quickly, right?
Correct.
It's being super in your movements and everything you do. We're super efficient. It doesn't take a lot of effort to get a good result, right? Mm-hmm. Effectiveness is doing the right things. So you could be really super efficient and you printed 500 shirts on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Okay. But you made great time doing that. Congratulations. Right.
Yeah.
Effectiveness is doing the right thing. And I think a lot of times we don't put not a lot of effort into being effective. Now, where does effectiveness start? It's processes.
Yeah. You know what? You won the race. It's the race at the bottom, and you got there first. Way to go. Quicker.
Right. So I would love to kind of have some thought here on this discussion, right? So effectiveness is what we really want, right? We want to be effective in what we do, effective in our effort, effective in the result, right? This is where a lot of time this is where the money savings is.
Yep, absolutely.
Right. Talk about that for a little bit, Alan. I want to know your thoughts on how to be more effective.
Wow. You know, and I always, because I work in the production sphere of it, you know, I work in the back of the shop, Marshall is in the front on there running stuff. The first thing I thought of is people with autocoaters. When other people say, I'm going, you know, I can coat way faster than that. Is that your goal? How fast you can coat? You coat faster, you're going to have inefficient screens all the way through. That is like the biggest reason that you probably need an autocoater. Well, I can code faster than that. Rule number one is why you need one right there. You can do it efficient. It's not going to be effective. And that was the first thing I thought of.
Yeah.
Your emulsion thicknesses are going to be off. They're going to be not consistent all the way through.
Once you get the machine set up, it's going to do it the same way every time.
Yep.
Unless, of course, there's no emulsion in the trough.
Well, I was going to say that's the only thing with autocoaters that you have to do. Make sure that there is a decent amount of emulsion, and they're usually but you don't want it all the way full. You want it half, because that's the fluid dynamics, basically the weight of the emulsion against the screen. We have a little bit on there. You're not going to get as consistent of a coat either. But yeah.
So Hurley says Michelle Cos is a legend. It bothers me a bit to see him receiving such hate. But as you say, if they only knew what the man is capable of with a squeegee.
Yeah. Excuse me. Have you printed for Pablo Picasso? No. Shut up then.
Yeah.
You know, it's almost that. Have you printed for Warhol and Picasso? No. And Salvador Dali?
Yeah.
Shut up then.
Shut up.
Yeah.
Ray says the only usefulness in an autocoater is screen uniformity, and autocoaters cannot do everything. In my industry, the autocoater does 10 base coats, and the manual does the final face coats.
Well, and face coats are there because now we're back to our Z, and absolutely. You know, when it's on thinness, it just smooths out those hills and valleys.
Yeah. So, again, that's the outcome. He's talking about the outcome, right?
Yep.
Effectiveness is what do we want, right? We're trying to get there, right? Efficiency is the time savings thing, and that's not always what we get. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Any more thoughts on that one? Or we got the last one? I'm going to wrap up here.
Yeah, let's. I think we're pretty good. I think we've kind of talked about that without talking about that subject.
Yeah. So I have one of these things, which is the daily desk calendar thing. This is Seth Godin's. I bought it like November, December of last year, and I get one of these every day. And today's says just enough. And so this is the discussion, right? I'm just going to read this. They're just enough. There are two paths, really. I will serve just enough to make the maximum profit, or I will profit just enough to provide the maximum service. So let's think about that for a minute, right? So, and I think, and we were talking before the show started about, well, ideally you kind of want to be in the middle, maybe, right? So on one degree, right, we're gonna want the maximum profit, and so we barely give the customer give the result that we want, right? Yeah. And you guys we all have experienced that in our lives, right? Like you go to the ball game and you order a hot dog, and the hot dog is 5 inches long and the bun is whatever, and it's just really gross, and they charge $20 for it.
Yep.
Right. The other end of the stick is that we charge just enough to make a profit, but it's overwhelmingly awesome. And then, but we're not charging enough to, make it worth our while, right?
Right.
So, and I think, the kind of the sweet spot's probably in the middle there somewhere, right? So, so kind of for the discussion here, let's keep it to our industry a little bit, right? And think about, what are we doing, right? At the end of the day, right? Are we building something that isn't profitable, but it's awesome? Or are we really concerned about profit and we're sacrificing what the customer's getting?
Yep. Well,
Right?
I think it comes to this: premium product gets premium price. And if you don't want to pay the premium price, then you don't get the premium product. I want the 4-color process design on, a super high-end shirt. Okay, great. Here's what it is. It's $30 a shirt. I don't want to do that. Well, then you're going to enjoy the Gildan with a 110 mesh, the Model T of mesh and all that. Somewhere in there is what you want, and what you're willing to produce too.
Yeah.
So, when you shortchange yourself with a premium product that you are producing, that you are giving there, and then you are cutting your profit margin, one, you're just wasting the time of yourself.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
When I was thinking about this, especially now with new technology, with AI, with a bunch of different stuff, we have a lot of customers out there, right? They want one shirt. They want 12 shirts.
Yep.
Okay. And a lot of times, especially in this industry, we look at everything through these glasses, through the glasses of screen printing. Everything is compared to screen printing.
Yep.
Especially DTG and DTF. It feels different. Whatever, right? That whole argument, right? And what they're not realizing, of course, is the customer just wants a good looking shirt and they want it tomorrow.
Yep, absolutely.
And so, and maybe we can do one shirt screen printing. Like you can do that, right? But the customer is not going to pay the money that you need to charge for that result, right? So, can we decorate a shirt somehow and get them what they need so they're super happy? This is where this new technology comes in.
It does. And can you do a shirt in screen printing for one shirt? Yes. I'll be happy to do that, sir. That'll be $95. He's not going to.
It's about what are you trying to make for him, right?
Or I can do it with AI in DTF or direct to garment. Great. But that is still a premium thing. A one-off of infinite color is still a premium product. Don't sell it for $7.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's just, so let's just think about what we're doing, right? And how we're doing it. And like, you don't have to, like, the way I kind of explain it sometimes with customers is like, there's people who shop at Dollar General and there's people who shop at Saks Fifth Avenue.
Yep.
Right? Who's your customer? What do they want? Right? And are you in alignment with, let's say we want a customer that will spend more money, right? Is the experience that you're giving in alignment with what those customers expect, right? So, like, if you've been to Saks Fifth Avenue, you know what that's like.
Yep.
Right? They'll happily spend money. Right? I was talking with somebody yesterday and we were looking some stuff up, right? I saw a denim jacket for $5,700 on a Saks Fifth Avenue thing. Right?
Yeah. Marshall bought two of them.
Yeah, Jody's really going to be happy. So,
she would not.
There's people out there, right, that'll buy that stuff.
Yep.
Right. That's why they sell it. Right. And there's other people that would. That's just ridiculous. I'm never going to buy that because they don't have the money for that. So who are you serving? Right. So are we giving our customers just enough? Or are we skimping with what we're doing,
Right.
and we're never going to make them happy because there's never going to be enough money in that. Right. And then this is where you get all the complaints and stuff online and whatever.
Correct.
So, I just think it's just really interesting, right? And if you like go to Amazon, for example, and you look at all the weirdo company names of things that are made by some, like, where is that thing coming from? You have no idea.
Exactly.
Okay. And they're, that's that whole, I'm going to make it, it's going to be really crappy. And then people buy that stuff, right? And so they're providing just enough.
Yep.
So,
got a couple things.
Yeah. So Brian says Bella Camus says blank 3001 shirts for $25 blank retail.
Absolutely. If you get that, don't sell it for $25. You better up it.
And Hurley says I don't outsource design work ever, so I can always donate my design on behalf of my company to nonprofits or special events if I need to make that extra impact. Right? Or by the way, are you recording that time? And then so you're sending them an invoice where you've deducted that thing, and then that I don't know how it works in Canada, but and that way at the end of the year you're taking that benefit for your tax deduction.
Yep. Good call.
Just something to think about.
Yep.
So anyway, just enough, right? So I think it's a very interesting concept, and so where are we on that when we're trying to please our customers, right? Yeah. And I think this if you want to have a theme of today's show, it's really about what are you doing, what do you want, how are you measuring it, and is it in alignment with what is expected from your customer?
Yep.
Right. So, and then Dan's got he wrote the book here. That's right there where so many people mess up. The custom order that needs custom art created for 3 DTF shirts, a lot of times the art time costs you more than some are charging at the end of for 3 DTF shirts. They sell these shirts for a 50% markup on the T and 50% up on the DTF and think they're making money. Yeah, because they're not charging appropriately for the time. By the way, this is Mid-Journey for the win. Where we can reduce our time in designing, but here's the thing: if we're not good graphics people and know how to do things anyway, you're still going to take you a lot of time, right? So
I still go back to, regardless of how it's created, it is a premium product. It is right. 3 shirts, regardless of how it's decorated. There needs to be a premium price.
Yeah, but
not a premium price.
Yeah, exactly. These cheap people don't need to be your customer.
100%.
Right? Again, who do you want? Do you want the Dollar General people?
Yep.
Or do you want the Saks Fifth Avenue people, or maybe somewhere in the middle? Right?
Yep, absolutely.
So where do you shop? Do we shop at Walmart or we shop at Target? It's the same thing. Okay. The experience is different.
100%.
Personally, I won't go into Walmart.
I don't go to
I just don't like it. I like Target. So
we have up here called Meijer.
I've been to Meijer. Meijer's good. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'll go to Meijer. I very rarely go to Walmart. One Walmart's farther away, but it's fine. I don't even like going in there.
Yeah. All right. Well, hey, anyway, we're about out of time. Thank you so much for watching.
Hey, wait, Marshall. Isn't there an event next week?
Yeah, there's an event next week called Shirt Lab Austin. We will not be having a show next week because we're going to be having fun doing that.
Yep.
By the way, I've got, if you're in the Austin area, I've got 1 ticket from one of our sponsors who's trying to give it away. Would love to help you with that, right? So get signed up. Get some education, right? Get to Austin. I can get you a free ticket. I got 1 ticket left, right? So reach out to me. We'll happily help you attend the event. Won't cost you anything. You'll have lots of fun. So anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. I appreciate everybody. and we'll see you. When's our next thing? So the 26th will be back. So and then Alan is going to be hitting the road, and we'll have a string of guests. So if you'd like to be a guest host for the show, reach out to me, and we'd love to have you sit in for Alan. And Alan's going to be gone for about a month. And where are you going, Alan?
I'm going to the Philippines. I was supposed to go last year. I was there 2 years ago, if you remember, and supposed to go last year. Some health things came up. I couldn't, so I'm going to be there a little over 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Part of the time I'm going to be flying there and back during showtime, but I'm going to try to pop in with a 12-hour time difference if possible. I know I did that the last time I was there, and I looked a little tired, didn't I?
Yeah. You're it's like a 20-hour flight. What is that?
Yeah, from where I live, like from San Francisco or LA, it's 15 and a half hours there, just to Manila. So it's 5 hours from Michigan to.
And then you got to take like a canoe or something to where you're going.
Take a small plane. We're either to Cebu City. This time I'm going to Bacolod, which is in Negros, the island there. And yeah, so it's a lot of travel. Time change. You think going from east to west and west to east is rough. 12-hour. So it is now. It's 1 o'clock Eastern here. Is 1 o'clock in the morning on Saturday there right now. So yeah, your body will hate you for it and fight you against it. It's not a good time.
Yeah.
So
well, have fun.
Looking forward to it. I am. I'm really looking forward to it. Marshall, I was telling you, I'm actually looking at purchasing some equipment. I'm thinking of trying to video and put stuff on YouTube, maybe just of some different foods and street foods, and just create a little thing like that.
Hey, hell with Anthony Bourdain. It's Alan Howe traveling.
Alan Howe eating, balut, which, you know what? Everybody, when I mentioned this to some friends, they go, well, here's the street food you need to do. Looking forward to Quack Quack. I'm looking forward to some of this. But they said, you got to do balut. And I said, that's the one that scares Americans. But it's the one everybody knows, and I would probably have to try.
What's like monkey brains? What is it?
Balut is a fermented duck embryo, a fermented duck egg, where it's actually fertilized, and it's a couple days old. So there's the fetus in it. It's boiled, it's steamed.
That sounds like you're going to live in the bathroom.
Well, it could be, but it's one of them things that I've ate worse when I've over there. I have had horse before, which was it tasted like venison, but I don't like venison. It's but you know what? That's how you learn about cultures.
Yeah, of course.
Don't tell me you go overseas. Well, I've been to Mexico. If you say you've been to an all-inclusive resort, does not count. Yeah. You go and get to know the culture, know the people and stuff. There are things I know not to eat and just I can't do. Balut might be one of them, but after 30 years ago on there, I might have to at least try it.
Yeah.
There's a fruit called a durian, which I'm just not going to be able to do. Yeah. Durian has an awful, awful odor to it, where there are signs where it's grown in hotels and stuff, no durian allowed. It is awful. And, if you watch on TV like Andrew Zimmer, the man eats anything of bizarre foods. He has tried multiple times and can't do it. Yeah. And it doesn't even look good. I've had opportunities, does not even look good to me. Okay. So that one's right out. Won't do.
All right. Well, hopefully you'll be eating some good things instead of the gross stuff.
There will. No, there's great Filipino food. I'm looking forward to it. They have great pastries and stuff. Like I said, I'm looking at going, okay, how do I do this?
All right.
On YouTube. So I've been looking at equipment, and who knows? We'll try. So.
Well, hey, we'll stay tuned for Alan's food report. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching.